No pipe did hum, no battle drum did sound its loud tattoo, but the Yankees bells or the Liffey swells rang out in the foggy dew. Hey folks, and welcome back to the most Irish game on the channel, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty out of the series JG. Oh, I tell you, I don't know that I tend to get once I've started a series, I'll tend to see it through, and I don't even mean a series like an LP series, like a series of games. Like I'll play the sequel to a game that was mediocre just because it's like sunk cost madness. I played the original. I enjoyed the Anjin Sun from Neo more than anybody, like more than the people who made the character. I was like, I just like the idea of this kind of like this not particularly charismatic Irish guy just kind of stuck in this weird environment. Because that's not like the actual character that's based on. The historical figure wasn't Irish, he was English. And most people know now the novelization, the novel Shogun, which was made into like a big, it was a TV miniseries, which is kind of like the precursor to today's modern Netflix series, the miniseries in the States, in like the 70s, I think. Um, yeah, an English guy, very, very kind of romanticized version of their story became the novel Shogun, and maybe the historical person was more of a source to the Japanese creators at Team Ninja than the novel Shogun, which took its own liberties. But turning him into an Irish guy with this weird Celtic spirit, I mean, it's just so fucking weird. And I love the fact that he's back for Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Anyway, before we jump back right in, I do want to briefly say thank you to the comments of support. This series is going to be a long series, and not that many people are going to watch it. I have no illusions of that. Neo started with decent viewership, and it fell off because it was an extremely difficult game, and I'm not a highly skilled player. And then Neo 2 started low and stayed low. Like nobody who like is like he's doing the sequel to Neo. I didn't watch Neo. I ain't watching this. So I thought maybe I'd get some new viewers just because this game is new, but I'm kind of expecting nah. There's a handful of people who just like to watch everything I'm doing. They will come along for this ride. But it's going to be a very difficult and frustrating game. And I think I will occasionally get whiny when I'm really overwhelmed by a game, but I don't do like amusing rage stuff. Like you have these assholes with scare cams who like do this theatrical over the top. They're playing a character of this angry gamer. Like I don't do that, so I don't know that it's intrinsically entertaining to watch me play a tough game. But I want everyone to know I'm enjoying it, or I wouldn't be playing it. I was caught off guard by how quickly I was being owned by this game mechanic of the counters, and how completely unable you were to find other ways to win, because and somebody said in the comments, oh yeah, like they've already nerfed the first boss. I'm not into that. I don't. I think it's a shame that they nerfed the first boss if they did. Because I understand there's a game mechanic they just like no, you need to know this mechanic or you're not winning this boss fight. So I had to get it. Um, as you get leveled up and you get farther along in if it worked anything like Neo did, you get more and more ability to find other like non-optimal ways to win. You can cheese around, you can be evasive, you can like some bosses like it's never going to be effective to use poison. I always like the actual navigating around through the levels in Neo more than I like the boss fights. Even though I think the boss fights are probably the thing that the game is most known for. Just because there is a certain ability, like you can be sneaky, you can use like poison floor traps and shit. You can also go in guns blazing. There's more than one way to win. The boss fights, like a whole lot of the strategies I like, just kind of go out the window and don't work against bosses. Um, but yeah, like House. I always want to say it's Bleak House. Maybe it's meant to be Black House. House. Wait, your icon looks like it's supposed to be some kind of Imperial symbol from Star Wars. I really don't know what it is. But anyway, House. Just so you're aware, when you make a comment and then delete it, it's weird. I can kind of see it and I kind of can't. Like I got to notice there was a new comment, And on the screen where I'm seeing the first 3 lines of any comment, like they kind of list different comments you've gotten, I can see them, and then when I go click it to see it, it's gone. So I could see the first 3 lines of something Blickhouse was saying, trying to comfort me and say, "Hey, I read that this game is very difficult. Don't get distracted. Don't worry about it. Like I knew that coming in. Like you don't need to be concerned. This is a game from Team Ninja. They pointedly like it's kind of Neo 3. I think everyone kind of knows it's Neo 3 because um, the playable character from Neo and the default, because this game and I don't like this actually. I don't like games. Chrono Trigger is like kind of the one odd exception. I don't like games that just give you this blank protagonist. And you had that weird thing in Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain where you create a generic protagonist at the beginning and then you played the whole game through as Big Boss and you're like Venom Snake, I should say, and you're like, what is that? Like, without spoiling the story of that game, because Bobo and I did play through it if you want to go see it. Like the why you make a generic protagonist at the beginning is weird because you could do it for multiplayer, but they make you do it even in the single player campaign, and eventually it makes sense. But yeah, that's a game. It probably had like the weakest story in a sense of all the Metal Gear games, just because it was so disjointed and that game was so unfinished. Um, but like I like games with a story, and the story involves having a protagonist, and the protagonist they don't have to be great. But they need like even Sam Porter Bridges from Death Stranding. Like we kind of gradually got to know what made him tick. He really starts out it kind of like closed off, and even the player doesn't know him, and you gradually develop some kind of attachment to him. And the best games are almost always the ones where there's a protagonist that you either really like or you find really compelling, even if you don't find them likable. I don't like these games where they just give you this blank protagonist. Part of what's allowing me to have fun with and I didn't do this in Neo 2, and I should have. And I think I'm going to enjoy this game just just being the Anjin San wandering around. It's like, how the fuck did I get here? When do I get to go home? Where are the other two? Am I still on that fucking island? Anyway, yeah, but don't. I'm actually really looking forward to doing a session of this game today. Anyway, I wasn't last time because we've got an ally backing us up, and we're gonna be fighting regular enemies, and like I feel like the game is gonna open up pretty soon. But we've got to learn it anyway. I'll shut up. Let's move on. So we got Zhao Yun, who apparently does have limited hit points. Interesting. I'm fighting with this club, which is heavy as fuck. And really affects the way that you have to time your attacks. So this is where I just fought an unusually large number of enemies where I could not sneak up on them in any way, shape, or form. So I think this is progress, is going this way, because this is where Zhao Yun kind of came out and saved me a bit. But we've got a very low morale meter. We need to build that up. Zhao Yun, by the way. Dragon's Cure Pot. How many of those do I have? 3 of 3. Will not be lost when depleted. Resting by... Okay, you replenish them. So, okay. Alright, so there's no point in saving those. Here's an enemy. Well, I avenged that Gongzingzan soldier. There was a grave here, but now it's gone. Oh, and all my morale is gone because I got hit by his super attack. I was waiting. I was hoping I could sneak in one quick attack before he got to hit me, but no. No joy. Being able to jump and clear any obstacle is so weird. I gotta stop assuming this game is going to play exactly like Neo 2. Like, Neo 2 played almost exactly like Neo, understandably, with some new mechanics. I've got to get over the fact that this game will play exactly the same. This is so crazy to me. Being able to jump up little heights. Neo 2 is all about making it always impossible to do anything of that kind. Genuine key flake. So I like that early on I was leveling up my sneakiness ability, and now I'm trying to sneak up on enemies so that I can surprise attack them with a giant spiked club. What I'm getting at is that this doesn't, in all respects, make a lot of sense. Raise the battle flag. 2 of 7. Fortitude rank increased to 2. Level 2 hairpin. So Zhao Yun, he's not talking much, but I guess in order to make this Let's Play watchable to anyone who just doesn't, you know, it's not just a JG fan who likes watching all JG stuff, I can talk a little bit about Three Kingdoms novel and the contents. Zhao Yun is an interesting character. Well, he's not really that interesting, actually. To be perfectly honest, he's kind of boring. He's like generically a really why do these have exclamation parts? Damage implication? Oh, because they're General of Man. Yeah. No, except this isn't. I might off screen want to go through the first level again, and as crazy as this sounds, I might want to grind against the first boss and actually get the General of Man set. I'm usually kind of obsessive about trying to get the sets. I don't know how many sets will appear and how quickly we'll get another set. We're only 2 pieces of equipment short. Berserker Might upon deflect. Melee attack spirit damage. Like, this is probably not a particularly exciting set. It's the first set you can get. I can't imagine it will be, like, at the end of the game while fighting the final boss of the 3rd DLC, we'll be using the General of Man set. But having a set is appealing. Anyway, what was I getting ready to say? We got another level 2 hairpin. We've already got one. Chill accumulation, spirit consumption. Whatever. Zhao Yun is kind of generically, like, heroic and good. He's,
Our scouts went to reconnoiter the enemy, but have not returned.
Isn't that reconnoiter?
I came to rescue them, but have no clues as to their whereabouts.
Yeah, so I started telling you about Zhao Yun, who'd been very quiet, and suddenly he actually had something to say. I don't know what would be the best way to sneak up on these guys. If I could possibly come up here. Could I jump? That's probably going to be too high. There you go. That worked out pretty well. Jumped on the strongest of them. Took him out. I still don't have a bow. I keep collecting arrows, but I don't have a bow, do I? I don't think I do. No, no bow. No bow daddy. Alright, oh. But yeah, Zhao Yun is... I mean, the Three Kingdoms, the novel, if you don't already know. And I haven't played a Dynasty Warrior game in a long time. And in RTK, I just tend to assume everyone already knows what's going on. Three Kingdoms follows Liu Bei and his sworn brothers. They like Liu Bei, Zhang Fei, and Guan Yu swear an oath of brotherhood in the first chapter of a novel with like 150 plus chapters. So It's not like, spoilers, Liu Bei has sworn brothers. But it's basically the story of Liu Bei, who the novel treats him as though he is descended. He is a part of the imperial family, who's like a kind of a low level, not closely related to the current emperor, but is related. Throughout the book, various characters do not accept this claim at face value. But it's part of the historical Liu Bei made that claim, and the novel treats it as though it's true. Zhao Yun is someone that Liu Bei and his brothers meet while fighting the Yellow Turbans, and they quickly form an attachment. Liu Bei becomes really fond of Zhao Yun, who's an incredibly noble and upstanding, he's like super honorable Confucian man. He does all the things that a Confucian warrior is supposed to do. He talks about helping the people, he's selfless, blah, blah, blah. He's just kind of generically really good. And Liu Bei is much the same. They hit it off. Zhao Yun works for Gongxing Zan, whom we may or may not be meeting later in the story. And they get separated, and then like sometime later they all run into each other, and Zhao Yun ends up working for Liu Bei. I think after Gongxing Zan is wiped out by Yuan Shao. I don't know if I assume Gongxing Zan dies, but his faction is defeated after the Yellow Turban Rebellion, when it basically turns into an all-out civil war between these various factions who'd all work together to fight the Yellow Turbans. The Yellow Turbans is an unauthorized peasant rebellion. This game is treating them as being like very villainous and bad, which the novel does as well. But what makes that interesting is that they're a peasant rebellion. They're not exactly fighting for democracy, but they're trying to overthrow the empire, because the empire has been like corrupt and isn't doing anything to help the common people. So in the novel Three Kingdoms, which is about trying to restore the empire to its former glory and following Confucian principles, it's the whole thing with Three Kingdoms is written during a time. You know what? Let me save some of this for the next video. I'm just talking. Let's actually make a little game progress. Coming up next time, I'll talk about the basic background of what was going on in China when Three Kingdoms, the novel, was written. What the author of Three Kingdoms was kind of thinking about when the novel was written, and why it is the way it is. It's a very romantic look back at a much earlier period in Chinese history. It's an old book, but it's about events that took place way before the book was written. And it kind of sheds some light into why the novel treats some characters the way it does, other characters the way it does.
And just look at them. They were so starved they couldn't possibly have...
Well,
the Yellow Turbans must be stopped, or our land will be ravaged beyond recognition.
Understood. And it's worth talking about how this game is treating the Yellow Turbans, too. No, like, the novel doesn't treat the Yellow Turbans very well, so all the video game interpretations of them kind of follow suit. But, like, it's like the old saying from Time Chasers. Can you tell how stale bread was after it's toasted? Like, he's talking about how skinny these poor people were and, like, how starved they were. Well, A, that's not the Yellow Turbans' fault. B, those bodies were charred. And that's what I'm noticing. It's like, well, they didn't just kill these people. They appear to have, like, charred people. And, like, even the buildings don't look as flame damaged as the people do. Well, that guy. That guy. This is like frickin' Vesuvius stuff. That guy there is like in this pose where he's still propping himself upright. That's not normal, like... Oh, shoot. R2 while holding L2. Yeah, this is how I expected it to work. Hold down to enter made, R2 to shoot. You can adjust the camera. Some enemies have weak points. But I still don't have a ranged weapon. At this point I'm assuming I'm supposed to have a ranged weapon. Ah. No, that's just Yellow Turban Bandit garb. Okay, I got a bow at some point, never equipped it. Fair enough. Did seem weird that I was getting all these arrows. I don't know when I got the bow, but it is correct that I didn't notice. Okay. I guess I was hoping there would be a way to sneak up on this guy. Rarely did I use ranged. Probably.
People are threatened.
Yeah, Zhao Yun is basically acting like Zhao Yun in the novel. He's just like he was like a Liu Bei who was a much better fighter. He's just going around talking about the people and loyalty and honor and blah blah blah. Just good dude. I'm not like seems like a good guy. Anyways. Oh, Zhao Yun's morale is at level 2. That's good. Yellow turbans are hanging people. That's not nice. Can shoot this guy in the back, but I'd rather save the arrow. Aha. But they're sneaky. And as I was hoping, this guy is really not paying that much attention. I may just spend... I'm trying to think, how much do I need to get recorded for my other series? I could just spend the day wandering around murdering yellow turbans, leveling up. It's cheese, though. I'm not supposed to need to do that to advance through these early stages. And it's not... at this point, I'm already over-leveled. I did way too much of that during the first level. But I do like finding places where I can kind of safely just grind for... I guess in this... It's not Amarita now, it's... genuine key. Also like to... Yeah, because I killed a fella here, so there should be some stuff. 2 arrows. So if... No downside whatsoever to having shot that guy with an arrow. That guy's got a high morale level. But I was smart enough that time, after my prior experience, to say, let's assume he's going to open with a big glowing red attack. I'm going to want to parry. Six would appear to be my limit at the moment. Did I avenge him? I would assume he got... This guy's level 6. He's probably the most threatening guy around here. There might be somebody ahead who's more dangerous. But I would think there'd be a decent chance that, if you're finding ghosts around here of prior heroes, they failed in their efforts to take out that guy. He was also hiding in a place where he can ambush somebody who wasn't expecting it, so... Doesn't appear to be any point to having come over here. Oh, wait, unless... There we go. Yeah, this game's got more... Not that there's no jumping in Neo, but, there's more what I would call jumping puzzles in this game. I keep waiting to find... After that experience with the blind guy's house, or the blindfolded kid's house, I was sure I was going to find something where there was a hole in a roof, and oh wow, Zhao Yun's got ups to come up here anyway. Well, this really proves there was not a lot of point to that, because I could have come all the way. I figured I would find some kind of cool ass... Okay, there's no like ninja rope swinging from tree to tree. I assumed I would find something up like a hole in a roof where I could drop into a house, but there was no door could only be opened from the other side, which was the indicator, which should have been the indicator to me that something was going on. Be careful, I'm trying to experiment, but could drop to my death. Yeah, you really should be seeing me at this point. Maybe, yeah, like I think if you avenge the guy, like the spirit disappeared because I avenged him. Yellow turban bracers. Champion footwear. Lieutenant General's Greaves. I mean, they wouldn't match, but I'm no longer wearing a set that really matches. Oh, these are... Oh, hold on. Bracers is... Yeah, bracers are these anyway. Alright. I guess you gotta hit the pot before you kill the guy to get a bonus for avenging the spirit. I don't know how it's working. All it's doing is adding to your morale score, which is you also get morale by killing dudes. You lose morale by getting hit. It's Followers alpha share their spirits. Perform a fatal strike on one of them to reduce their spirit gauges. The stronger the enemy bound to a spirit conjunction, the more spirit gauge will be reduced. What? I think what they're suggesting is that I attack the one on the right first to weaken the one on the left. I don't know, but I'm going to call it a video. When we come back next time, I will permit myself to just blather on more about Romance of Three Kingdoms, the novel. I haven't read that in a couple years. Maybe I should start reading that again. But yeah, because I just started going into long speeches and was like, let's get some gameplay done. So I might do a little bit more blathering. We'll do a little bit more gameplay. It'll just be a barrel of fun and incredibly relaxed compared to fighting any boss in this game or any other Team Ninja game. I'll catch you guys next time.